Welcome everyone to a new time, Tuesday 9:30. It's usually Monday at 9, but I am joined by a good mate of mine and Twitter bait extraordinaire, Mr. Jim Fazz. How are you doing, Fazz, man?
Mate, I'm awesome. I'm so good. It's great to be here. I'm on holidays, so, you can't wipe the smile off my face. The Blues are going well. West Ham are going well. I mean, spending the evening with you, what could be better?
Hey, mate, tell you what, you're probably one of two people who'd say that, my wife and yourself. So I appreciate the kindness. But I mean, we're here today to talk about all things football and have a bit of fun. But you mentioned it, Carlton undefeated. How did you find this week, Faz, in the world of football? What caught your eye? What didn't you like?
Look, I mean, gather round. When they first introduced it last season, I was a bit like, whatever, South Australia. I've been there before. It's not really my cup of tea, but I can't help but to really get into it. It looked great. Like, I think having everyone there, the community grounds, all that. So off the bat, gather round itself was superb. But what really caught my eye through the week, I think Melbourne made a statement. I think Port Adelaide might have made a statement. I don't think a lot of the good teams like your GWS, your Carltons and all that really made too many noises. But I think we saw a lot of on the other end, a lot of the, okay, they're actually no good. Your Essendons, your Adelaides, so on. So I think the statements were more the other end of the, okay, there is a gap. There is a gap between the two ends of the table.
Mate, I agree. I also thought that teams like Hawthorn, Bulldogs, Fremantle and Richmond, probably five sides that everyone said were going to be the whipping boys and look rubbish, really did show that this league, if you're not on your A game, any side can knock you off.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see that a lot, that people saying the competition is close. Chris Scott came out and said that the competition is close. It is tight. And you are seeing, you'll get your blowouts, but you're seeing that the Collingwood Hawthorn game, Richmond St Kilda, even Gold Coast GWS at the start. Yes, GWS ran away through the end, but you're seeing it is pretty tight. Carlton, Fremantle, you've only got to be off, 1 or 2%, and you can get done. And I think makes for a great competition.
It is, and you know what I really do think as well is we're quick to write teams off, aren't we? We're quick to guarantee flags as well, round 5, aren't we? I'm already hearing GWS now, it's impossible to beat. Everyone's telling me that. But I always counter it, and I'd be surprised if in 10 weeks GWS don't slip up. Do you know what I mean? They're going to get beat. And I think only 2 weeks ago, people were telling me it was Sydney's title to lose, and then they fell a cropper. So I really think it's an interesting one.
I am a teacher. Yes, thank you. And I don't know what he's suggesting. Is there
cop and teacher, same thing?
Same thing, mate. A prison warden, more like it, to be honest. And I don't know what I don't know what is it. I am on my phone. I was just scrolling through the results, so I got it right. So I don't know what he thought I was doing. But
this was the suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely not. Is my raspy voice? I've got a cold. I don't know. Anyway, no. The answer is no. Not on a Tuesday night. So anyway, what was the question? GWS. Yes. Well, GWS. You're a fool if you're picking premiers in round 4 or round 5, whatever you want to call it. And look, you can say, because I remember last season. Thanks, mate. Yeah, love it. The old soul patch. So, anyways, completely off track. Look, you can say I think GWS could win the flag. I remember last year people were saying Collingwood very early on, and they eventually won it. But making a call in April doesn't mean by September you can stand on the mount and say, hey, look at the call I made. Because it's, yes, obviously one of the teams who are winning at the moment will probably win the flag. I mean, that is obvious. So, but to say there's a standout, I think that was very premature. I don't think GWS have been a standout. I think the game against Gold Coast did prove that. I thought Gold Coast were very impressive. So I don't know, to say that there's a standout. I think that's very premature. I have a standout, in my opinion, who I think the standout is, but that's completely neither here nor there.
Who is your standout?
I think Geelong's been the standout, in my opinion. And those who know me well know that that's taken a lot to say that, because I can't stand the place. But yeah, I think Geelong. I personally think Geelong have been the standout. But
mate, you know, I think it's funny how we judge it, because, like, I think you know, I've heard a lot of abuse about Collingwood, which obviously as a Carlton fan I don't mind, but I think everyone talks about what sides have lost, right? But no one talks about what sides have gained, and I think Paul's correct as well. I don't think GWS have really played anyone tasty as of yet, and I mean this totally unbiased. The team that I think genuinely what I look for in Premier League, in AFL, is what have you added from last year? And that's where I start to say, I know what you do on your average day, but do you add anything new? And I think one of the teams no one's talking about is Carlton. The fact that this time last year, everyone was saying contested football doesn't work, and now the narrative has flipped. And that kind of leads me on to our first subject, game styles. Is game style the most overrated and most ridiculous methodology of analysing a side in sport?
Short answer, absolutely. Yes, it is. It is an overrated thing. Those of you people who watch the round ball, the soccer in England, there's hundreds of different game styles. Some counteract others, some complement others, some are no good against others, whatever. That's what makes the sport so beautiful. Yet in AFL, the moment a team does something slightly different, for example, Fremantle, everyone's like, oh, it's boring, it's no good. Mate, you know what's not boring? Winning. Winning is not boring. Winning is great. Fremantle should have won that game. Fremantle should be 4-0. All right, let's put the cards on the table. They should have won that game. They were better on the night. Don't talk to me. I'm so sick of people saying they're shit to watch. They're boring. I don't like it. Mate, winning ain't boring. Full stop. So shove your game styles up your ass. Give me the results. That's what I want.
Mate, I'm with you. And you know what I find interesting is I watched Fremantle this week. Obviously, we're Carlton fans. And I think I was the first out of all the influencers, which is the new term I've been dubbed, which I hate. But I was the first Carlton one to actually give them a bit of praise, because I was like, you know what? Fair play. Like, I think if Fremantle went toe-to-toe with Carlton, we would have won by 100, right? If they'd gone, right, we're going to play quick football and we're going to take Carlton on, I think Carlton would have destroyed them, absolutely peppered them. But I saw a lot of similarities in 2017 Carlton, where Bolton used to play really defensive, and he explained to us that we're not going to kick big goals, we're going to try and sort our defensive sets out. But then the media started that narrative, didn't they? Carlton having kicked over 100 in 12 years. And then what happened? Bolton was forced to play more aggressive, shelve the defensive plan. 2018 happened. He was sacked. He's now at Collingwood. This is my fear, because I think AFL, their coaches might not admit it, but I think they are actually the most reactionary group of management in the world. And I fear for Fremantle, because yes, it is negative. Yes, it is boring. I'll be honest, as a neutral, I ain't watching Fremantle, right? Yeah. I want to see goals. But I hope they don't get in a position where they become so rigid and hard to beat that they suddenly go to level 2 before level 1's implemented.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And I think the thing you said that was raises the biggest thing for me is as a neutral. And you're right. Like, as a neutral, you're not going to watch it. But as a supporter, I could give 2 squirts of piss about the neutral. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care how many people are watching my team play. I support West Ham. Everyone knows that. We play a different style of football. I don't care if someone calls me up and said, yeah, you won 2-1, Fazz, but geez, it was boring. I said, mate, it won't boring at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm running around with my pants down, tipping beers on my head. Right? It ain't boring, man. I could care less what you think. It's the same with Fremantle, man. Don't worry about what people think, because you're right. If Fremantle tried to go toe-to-toe with Carlton, tried to play Carlton's game, they would have got battered. And we see the same thing in soccer, right? Brighton played Arsenal. Brighton played Arsenal's game, and they got absolutely smoked. But what you do is you've got to change it up. And so Fremantle, I think credit to them, because the easy thing to do for them is to say, oh, yeah, look how good our midfield is. Let's just go hammer and tong. Well, mate, you're going to get smoked, and that's a fact.
Mate, and it always reminds me when you hear people talk about it. It's like, I'm a big boxing man. I love my boxing, and I hear pundits always say, oh, Floyd Mayweather's the greatest ever, but God, he's boring to watch because he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to get hit. And I'm like, isn't that the whole antithesis of boxing? Not to be punched? Like, you're saying it's boring, but if Floyd Mayweather stood there and said, go on, hit my chin, his career's over. Like, so literally what I'm saying here with Fremantle, the game is simple. Score more than your opponent. Now, you can think I'll score 10 goals more, or you can maybe use your brain and go, if I limit you to 5 goals, I've only got 6 to get.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah.
Stopping is as equally as important as scoring.
Absolutely. And teams, it wasn't that long ago where teams were winning premierships doing that. Sydney, West Coast, St Kilda got close, Fremantle got close. Teams were winning premierships doing that. There is no reason why. Who knows? It might evolve that way and go that way again. Who knows? Like, no one's got a crystal ball. But the point is, Fremantle are 3-1, playing a style of football that, whilst not pleasing on the eye, whilst the neutrals won't switch on and watch it, their fans are bloody happy because they're 3-1. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the big deal is personally.
It is, and I look at the development of sides. So you do look at, like, we'll take something we all know, Carlton. Like, I look at that 2017 side, and then I look at when Voss came in, and I consider them 2 rebuilds, 2 different rebuilds. And you know what really impresses me about Carlton's mantra is we saw Voss, when he first came here, he looked at his personnel, and he was like, right, they can't kick, they're not very intelligent, they're not really brave in tight games because they always lose them. So what shall I do? And he made a contested brand of repeat stoppages, which played to our strengths, right? And then over the 3-year period, what's he done? He's added layers. So we suddenly see the big pillars last year, the deep entries. And then this year, he's stripped a little bit back of the contested side. They've become a bit more uncontested and a bit quicker, but it's been a development in the game plan. So Fremantle, I don't think are going to be boring with 18 men behind the ball in 3 years. There's probably a plan of, in 3 years, this will be regimented, and then we'll add the next layer. And I feel like fans, like what Webby's saying here, I agree, but for me, it's not entertainment. This is life. It's winning.
Yeah. It is. It is. And I think, you know, I'll keep going on about it. And I guess it's easy for me to say, again, being a West Ham fan, but playing counter-attacking football with 30% possession as opposed to 70% possession isn't boring. There's nothing boring about seeing Mohamed Kudus running down the wing with a 2-on-1 opportunity with Jarrod Bowen. That's nothing boring about that. And that's what I'm saying. Fremantle is the same thing. There's nothing boring about Hayden Young getting the ball and hitting a 45 that would slice through a brick wall, right, to open the ground up. There's nothing boring about that. And look, I think the thing that gets me is, you know, when Carlton win, happy about it. You know, and West Ham do the same thing. And the first thing I get on Twitter or whatever, I get a message from saying, yeah, good win, but, oh, we didn't win the contested ball. Or West Ham, good win. Oh, yeah, but we only had 30% possession. Like, West Ham beat Brighton 3-2 or whatever, and we had 28% possession. And that was the first thing I got messaged. I'm like, could care less if we had 1% possession. We won the game. And same thing, Carlton win a game and it's, we didn't win the centre clearances or we didn't win the clearances. Yes, it's something that the club can address during the week, but it's not, as fans, it's not our problem. Let's just enjoy the fact that we got the 4 points, or you get the 3 points, or whatever sport you follow, you get the result. Surely that's what it's all about.
I'll always say this: they've never sacked a coach for being boring, have they? Like, it's always like Bolton wasn't sacked because people were crying from boredom. He was sacked because the win
went the other way.
He
was sacked. Yeah, but he was sacked because he went the other way. he won less games playing attacking football. Oh, bang! He got sacked. Oh, shock!
But that is to me, that's the business the coaches are in. They ain't paid to put bums on seats. They ain't paid to get plaudits. They're paid to win football games. And yes, okay, in an ideal world, everyone will play sexy football, but in reality, their job is to win. And that's whatever way they see fit.
Yeah, and I think that's the question I'll ask anyone who criticises game styles is, 2 weeks ago, North Melbourne lost to Carlton by, what it was, 50-something points, 137 to 80 odd, a high-scoring game. This is what we want, high-scoring football. You think North Melbourne fans were happy? Do you think they walked away saying, geez, we played some attacking football. Geez, it looked good. Mate, you got done by 9 goals. Like, how could you be happy? Do you think the Brighton fans were happy because, geez, we had some good attacking plays when we got dicked by Arsenal for whatever? Do you think they cared? No, of course they didn't care. They got beaten. Like, no one's going to pat you on the back, say, do you know what, Fazz, well done. You got beaten 6-0 by Arsenal, but geez, you had some good attacking play. Mate, I'll bite your arm off if you did that. Like, go away.
And you know what annoys me as well? You see this with game styles. When someone does something new, like you said earlier, have you seen, like, I was listening to, I think it was SEN today, and they were talking about how GWS really impressed them because they remind them of the dynasty of Richmond, right? And they were like, that was all about avoiding stoppage and getting the ball moving forward and quickly to runners. And then they said, Carlton worry me because they're not a stoppage and clearance side. Now, funny thing is, Richmond were 15th that year for stoppage and clearance. And the funny thing is, Carlton are currently 15th, right? Playing an uncontested brand of football, that's slingshot off the back. And it made me laugh that suddenly they were comparing Richmond to GWS because it fitted their narrative. But Carlton are actually very similar in what they've done. And suddenly it's a bad thing. But that annoys me when we compare to other clubs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Paul said it perfectly. Just gives the experts something to talk about. Said it perfectly. And I think you're right. Comparing clubs to other clubs. I remember someone saying that key forwards don't win you. Having 2 key forwards won't win your big finals. Two big key forwards, right? And I remember thinking, okay, but how many teams actually have 2 key big forwards? So you can only play with what you've got. And it's saying like, Carlton, like last season, Carlton play a contested brand of footy. We had a list full of contested ball winners. What do you want us to do? Play outside run with blokes who were like, look like they're running through treacle? Like, you can't compare. Like, I don't know, comparing Carlton to GWS. Well, I mean, their midfield is fast and all this stuff. And, you could narrow it down to Whittaker and Taylor are similar. And no team's got Harry and Charlie. So why would Carlton play a similar game style as another team when that other team doesn't have Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow? It just makes no sense.
Do you know what, right? When I was at university doing golf, right, to become a golf pro and get my licenses, I remember someone saying to me, a golf pro, a very famous one as well, saying, not everyone in the world is built to analyze. Everyone can have an opinion. Few can master it. And this is my case in point. So I'm going to use 2 of you as an example, Webby and Ben. And Ben uses something key here. 4 rounds. So 4 games of football. Now, when you do an average, 4 is a horrendous average to use. So if you're 15th for a stat now, That's crazy, right? But I'm going to tell you something. Last year, when Carlton ranked the number one side from stoppage and clearance, if you took the 4 worst performances, their average would be worse than their 4 performances now, right? So it's a very interesting little thing that this could be the 4 worst games Carlton have done, right? This could be the 4 worst, right?
I hope so.
At the end of the season, they could be ranked second. It's interesting as well, because on the counter, Carlton scores from intercepts and turnover last year. If you take the 4 best, they're ranked third, right, last year. They're not one of the worst sides. So until you've got, like, people forget when people say Richmond did this, they did it over 26 games. Like, at the moment, this is a flash in the pan.
It drives me nuts. But as you know, as they've said, you know, it is an entertainment industry as far as you've got shows from Monday to Friday and all this stuff. Like, they just got shows galore. They need something to talk about. And yes, they said Collingwood couldn't win a flag without a gorilla clear forward, and they still won it. Exactly. You play, you build your play. A good coach or manager will build the game around what they've got. It's the David Moyes argument all over again. And I know people might not know about David Moyes, but it's his argument over again. No point in him playing a possession brand of football when you got blokes who can't pass the ball. It's like you got a midfield who can't pass the ball. You need to sit back, do long balls, and run onto it. It's as simple as that. Collingwood, no point playing a game plan where you want contested marks in your forward line because you don't have the forward. So you've got to play it. Yeah, I don't know. I say it to you a lot when we have these conversations. Like, how are we having this conversation? How is this not common knowledge? I don't know.
For me, when people say, why can't North play like Geelong? That's like saying, why can't Fazz win the 100-meter gold? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm going to let people into a secret. No matter what stat you find, even though if that mirrors with winning the title, if it was a black and white reason, right? I always say this because the transition one pisses me off. If that really was the only reason you'd win a flag because of your transition game, do you not think all 18 football clubs would work on that 24 hours a day, draft only players that could do it? If that was the blueprint and the guarantees of success, why would they work anything else?
Well,
it just so happens that's the game plan.
Well, it's quite simple. You can't play the Richmond game plan because no team has something that Richmond had, and no team will have it. And that was Dusty Martin, probably the greatest player in this era. No team's got him. So you can't expect to just play the Richmond game plan and think, we're going to win the flag now. You need to find a Dustin Martin to be able to do that. Like, it's,
Mate, it's an interesting thing. And that goes on to my next thing, winning margins. So winning margins probably the thing that annoys me the most, right? And I don't really, to be honest, I don't really see this in any other sport. But against a shit side, everyone complains.
Yeah, look, again, we're doing a lot of soccer to football comparisons here. Obviously, percentage is spoken about, goal difference is also spoken about, but it's, to me, again, once again, you know, you want to win. Very rarely in the Premier League, very rarely in any sport, even AFL. And I know Carlton supporters especially will keep pointing back to 2022 where Carlton missed the finals by a percentage. Well, we weren't good enough. Should have won a game earlier in the season. It's the same thing. A team's not going to win the Premier League, although this year maybe, by goal difference. You know, you just get the result. Winning margin, I mean, round one, sure. On paper, Carlton are probably 5-6 goal better team than Richmond, but the game's not played on paper. It's played on grass on a Thursday night in front of 80,000 people. You take the win. Carlton beat North by 50. We play them tomorrow. We could beat them by 80. We play them in 2 days' time. We could beat them by 30. You don't know what's going on. And the other thing a lot of people don't take into account is they're not robots. Like, they're not all of a sudden you've turned your game on your FIFA or whatever. And it's like, he's ranked 95, so he's got to do this. I mean, Cripper had a baby 3 days ago. Do you think he was in prime condition to be playing on Saturday? Absolutely not, right? He just had a baby. He probably hasn't slept. You get flus, you get colds, you get the shits, you get everything can happen. Have a dodgy curry the night before, stayed up late with your mate. Your mate's come over, he's a bit upset. You have a couple of beers with him. Not every player is at 100% every single game. So how can you judge a game purely based on the margin? Just get the win, get in, get out, never talk about it again, and move on. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, you know, I actually heard this because I complained about this last week as well with this philosophy, but I actually heard professionals use it today as well when I was on SEN, and they were talking about how they were looking at what GWS did against Gold Coast and saying that that's now the par score. Gold Coast are around 6-12. So if any side is serious, when they come up against Gold Coast, they need to look at the margin GWS did. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, really? Because I think you've only got to look at Collingwood. You've got to look at Carlton, the two teams that have won the most games over the last 24 months. They've won them by small margins. Sometimes it doesn't work out as you think. And we're Carlton fans. We know that there's certain players like this week, you know certain players are going to have a day out because they always do. But then you'll never see them. Like, half of St Kilda's list has got contracts because of how they play against Carlton.
Team memory, absolutely. no, but you are spot on in that regard, and I think the emphasis on the winning margin, you know, times have changed. You know, whether people like it or not is irrelevant because it's here. The sport world is run by sports psychologists and sports scientists and your strengths and conditioning. You know, I see a lot of people post you want that killer instinct. You want to bury him. You want to, kick a dog while it's down. That's not world sport anymore. That's not what it is. It's you get enough in front and you look after your commodities. It's as simple as that. West Ham are 3-1 in front. You take Michael Antonio off, right? It's as simple as that. You know, Carlton get a good lead. Mate, I don't want to see Charlie Curnow on that field for the last 8 minutes. Because to me, the difference, 50 points or maybe winning by a couple more goals and then losing Charlie Curnow for 6 weeks, especially with Carlton's injuries, it's just not worth it. So I don't necessarily like it personally that sports psychologists and sports sciences are running the game. I don't like it, but it's something you've got to accept. You've just got to accept that they're the ones who dictate what's going on. And the killer instinct, well, winning is the killer instinct. Just getting the result. And I think there's nothing more degrading to an opposition when you look at the score and say, geez, we're 4 goals down or 5 goals down. Oh, they've taken their best players off. Oh, shit. To me, that's more degrading than being pummeled because it's like, well, they know they're better than us.
Mate, spawn. And I look at Adelaide like this weekend. If you use that philosophy, Fremantle dicked Adelaide by 35 points. Like, I'm not going into this game against Adelaide thinking, okay, we beat Adelaide by 12.
35 plus 10. So we should be beating Adelaide by 45 points. Is that how it works?
Like that's not how my brain works because, like, it can totally change. Like Webby saying, we know Ben Keys turns into prime Gary Ablett Jr. And he was naff against Fremantle. So I half expect him to take the piss this week, whether we win or we lose.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we're big on this. And look, I understand where people want, you got to get your percentage up and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty big on this one. If you're relying on percentage, then you're probably not good enough to win the premiership anyway. That's as simple as that.
Mate, the only game margin matters and percentage matters is the grand final.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. No, I agree, Ben. Yeah. But Ben, the problem is, and me and Fazz know this way too well, if Carlton win by 40, someone will say Fremantle beat them by 35. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's wild.
Mate. Well, we come to the
Oh, I love
first
this.
segment of our stupid part of the thing. So this show, we
Yeah.
do things a little bit differently to others. We have a bit of fun, right? So what Fazz is going to have here is he's going to have a couple of attempts at this. We're going to give him 3 players, and he's going to tell us, will he field, bench, or trade them? Chat, you get involved as well, as you always do. So first player, Mr. Fazz. Ooh, Harris Andrews. Harris Andrews, good player.
Yeah, that's a good get. That's a good start.
Jared Witts. I'll tell you what.
I'm
waiting for the day that we get a real awkward one.
Yeah, Sam Walsh or something. Charlie Curnow.
The second coming of Christ, Luke Jackson.
Oh.
So you've got Harris Andrews, Jared Witts, and Luke Jackson. Who are you benching, fielding, and trading?
I'm trading Jared Witts. I'm fielding Harris Andrews, and I'm benching Luke Jackson. That's pretty easy, actually, I think.
Oh, I tell you what, the WA papers are going to kill you because they were talking about Easter being about the rebirth of Luke Jackson.
Yeah, well, Tom DeCruiser took care of that, didn't he?
Mate, it's crazy. Is Luke Jackson he's a very good footballer, but has his first 4 weeks been the most overinflated 4 weeks of any man?
Can I just have this right now? If this is for a game played tomorrow, yeah, I agree with Ben here. For a game played tomorrow, I'm probably playing Witts over Jackson, but yeah, I think you're keeping Jackson. But I agree. If it was just a single game played tomorrow, yeah, I'm trading Jackson and playing Witts. But yeah, I think because Witts is a bloody good player. I think he's very underrated.
I tell you what, mate, I agree with you. Well, tell you what, we'll give you another one. See if we get anything exciting from this. Right, so we've got Tom Papley.
Right.
Let's hope we get some forwards out of this. Bailey Dale.
Ooh.
He is actually a footballer as well, chap.
Yeah, I do love a bit of Bailey Dale.
2 first names, though.
Mm.
Oh, Tom Stewart.
Oh.
Papley, Dale, and Stewart.
I think this is a pretty easy one as well. Field Stewart, bench Papley, and trade Bailey Dale. I think that's pretty simple. Stewart is just enormous.
He's insane. Would you say that Tom Stewart gets the least plaudits for a player that plays in that position?
Yeah, but I think the plaudits are starting to come.
But he's been doing that for 3 years.
No, yeah, he has, and he's got a fair few years on that All-Australian blazer. But he's a superstar. So yeah.
Do you know what? This is going to be really controversial, but I look at Tom Papley, and I don't think Tom Papley could do that in any other team.
It's a good call.
And this is a real controversial call, but I think there is some players that I look at and go, beasts, but Tom Papley in North doesn't do what he does.
That's a fair call. I think it's a fair call.
But Tom Stewart, I think you put him in North Melbourne, exactly the same output.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair call. I think it's a fair call with old Paps. But I'm still trading Bailey Dale though.
Mate, I know it's rough, but that's my theory. So now we're going to come on to an exciting thing, right? Ooh. An exciting thing. So this is brought to you by Mrs. Pom. This was her game, right? So we should have a timer there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a word association game. So I will give you an example, right? If it was Patrick Cripps, I would try and word associate Patrick Cripps. So I'd be like, it's something you do to a little boy when he does really well. Pat. Do you know what I mean?
Far out. I'm going to struggle.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Right, do you know what I mean?
Because I immediately went to cripple him, Crips.
and then like his surname is maybe how someone with dyslexia spells chips.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's do this.
So Fazz can't see anything. I've got it here. Right, we'll start the timer. Let me shuffle my thing. Right. Okay, right. Okay, we will start the timer. How do I start this? If I click set, does that go? Why is this like? Why do I need a degree to use this? Here we are. Right. Okay. So that should be 2 minutes. Okay, go. Okay. His first part of his surname is what it would be if you were 2 in the world. You are called you are the number 2.
Okay. Yeah.
What is it?
Rank.
Yeah.
Isaac Rankin.
Yeah, okay, cool. There's one. Jesus, H. His surname is them people in fields getting strawberries. They are something the strawberries.
Pickers?
Yeah. First, oh God, how do you say?
You put the timer on for 2 hours, by the way.
Have I? Well,
yeah.
Tell you what.
I'll be here all night.
Well done, Fazz. Right, okay. Tell you what, pause that. So 2 seconds, 20 seconds, 2 minutes.
I think that's about right, yeah.
Let's have a look.
All right, let's go.
Right. So you got one. We'll give you one.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's picking. Past tense of picking is what?
Picked.
Okay. Please work it out. If there was 2 T's on picked and we were German, what would that be?
Picket.
Yeah. First name?
Yeah. Oh, there's 100. Kozia?
Yeah, well done. Brilliant. There's 2. That was so hard. Okay. First name, the most common English name beginning with T.
Trent. Tom.
Yeah. Surname is the male. The last part of his surname is the male version of Leanne.
Tom something Lee.
Yeah.
Papley. Tom Papley.
Yeah, well done. I was trying to keep that clean. That's 3. Okay, Jesus, why are these names horrible? Something at the Beanstalk is his first name.
Yeah, Jack. Yep.
Okay. If in the 80s you were going really mad on the dance floor, they wouldn't say, "Oh, they're mad dance furies." They would say probably they are. It's a song by. It's Something Motion by Kylie Minogue.
Nah.
A train is one of these. It's a something motive.
Locomotive.
Yeah. Jack Locker.
Lococious.
Yes. Okay. Right. So we've got 4. Last one. First name is the guy who shouts all the time on Blue Abroad and fan crams. Something Melodian.
Fazz. I don't know.
If you catch the ball in AFL, it's
Mark.
Okay. Surname's Russian.
Surname's Russian. Blitzavs.
Yeah, okay, cool. We'll count that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fazz, you scored 5 on this part of the show. That's the new bench house record, that.
Oh, wow. It's good. That was good fun. I tell you what, mate, I was sweating bullets.
Yeah, tell you what, I got Zoe to shuffle it earlier. I tell you what, when I saw Keziah pick it, I was like, how the hell do you say Keziah? Like,
yeah, I think it's much harder than what people think it is. That's for sure.
Oh God, honestly, I was having a coronary doing that guy. Tell you what, well done, Fazz. Though that was good fun. Okay, so Fazz, I will load up the sheet. We have got everyone's favourite show last week was our good friend of the channel, Mr. Leckdog, picked his team. That was 2 backmen, 3 midfielders, 2 forwards, and a ruck. Right, which is basically an AFL team. But this week's subject is breakfast items. So
yes,
that is, I think, pretty exciting. So Fazz is going to take us through. Chat, you go through what you would pick. So Fazz, I will load up the team selection screen and we will get excited about Fazz making his team. Let me get rid of that. There we are. We've started a new one. I will load it up on the screen. Team selection should show up. There you are. So Fazzy's going to pick a team of breakfast items. So the rules are Fazz gives us a breakfast item, where he's playing on the field, and why. So Fazz, breakfast items.
Well, we'll start with the back line. So I had a bit of fun with this. So I thought in the back line, you want someone who's really solid, who's going to get you through the day. You know, someone you can look to and say, well, I know if I've got you, I'm not going to need much else for the rest of the day. So my starting back is going to be Oates.
Oates?
Yeah. Oates.
Tell you what, that is vintage, that, mate. That mate, I haven't seen someone have oats for breakfast for a long time, but they do pop, mate.
Yeah, no, they do. And some other backmen, I thought if you've got a solid get you through the day backman, what you want next to that person is someone reliable, old faithful, if you will. So I've gone my second backman as Vegemite toast.
Mate, I might be a pom, but I do love a little bit of Vegemite.
Old faithful. So my midfield, I split my midfield up into 3. I wanted one solid inside midfield. I wanted one reliable outside runner, and I want one quick and easy, you know, that you can come in and out. So I'll start with my reliable outside runner, and this is the one where you know that you can turn to. They're going to give you, you know, your 6 out of 10s most week. You know, your Blake Acres of wingers, if you will. And I'm going to go Nutrigrain. Nutrigrain is your outside, reliable outside runner that you can't really go wrong.
You know what? I don't know. Is Nutrigrain just an Australian thing? Because I don't remember seeing Nutrigrain in England.
Possibly. Yeah, I think so.
Anyone more educated than me in chat, you can tell me that, but I can't remember it.
Okay, my quick and easy. This is my other winger. This is not my center. I'm going to leave my center to last, right? So one step ahead, just leave me to it. My quick and easy. This is your other winger who it doesn't need to be too defensive. This is you get up, you go. You know you're probably going to be hungry again in another hour, but you need to get the job done before getting out of there. And that is the man shake. The man shake on the other wing.
Oh, hey, tell you what, the man shake. Any flavour or any?
You got to go chocolate.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or vanilla.
Chocolate man shake. There we are.
Yeah. Now, the solid inside mid, the captain, the Brownlow medalist, the Norm Smith medalist, the All-Australian, you can never go wrong. No matter how many times you have this breakfast, you can never go wrong. So my captain for my breakfast team is bacon and eggs.
Oh, mate. I haven't had bacon and eggs for breakfast forever. This makes me hungry, this game. Like, it's bad at 10 o'clock at night.
It's good. So my ruckman, I'll skip the forwards first and I'll go to the ruckman. Now your ruckman does some heavy lifting. You need them to be reliable. So you need to understand them. Now, the thing about ruckman that makes it's different, right, is every generation loves a good ruckman. Would you agree on that, Pom?
100%.
My dad, my granddad, every generation will talk about good ruckman. Carlton's best and fairest medal is named after a ruckman. Okay. So when I think every generation loves a good ruckman, I can't go past my ruckman being Weet-Bix.
Oh, yeah. Mate, tell you what, this is a solid. I've got to spell it the Australian way as well. There's no A in Weet-Bix here. But no, mate, I like that. That's solid.
Coffee's a great call.
It does look like a ruckman. Weet-Bix as well.
You could stand it up like that, stack them up, whatever you want to do. But Weet-Bix, I've never, my dad loved them, I love them, the kids love them. It's just every generation loves a good ruckman, loves Weet-Bix.
And
so
every cupboard in the world has Weet-Bix in it.
Absolutely. My 2 forwards, this is where I had the most fun.
Ooh.
You want them quick. You want them easy. You want them flashy. Forwards are what the kids come to see. Yeah. Forwards are what paid the big dollars. You ask the kids, who do you love? I love my Charlie Kernos. You ask the kids, what do you want for breakfast? They want these. All right. So the first forward is Fruit Loops.
Massive in our house at the moment from the kids. They are obsessed with Fruit Loops. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. And my second forward, once again, the money maker. All right, this is the big dog, the one that the people that put bums on seats, and that's a McMuffin meal from Macca's.
Yes, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Something the tradies want. Everyone wants it. Yeah, Peter, a pie for breakfast. Is that? Are you on about the bacon and egg?
Surely.
Do you know what I mean? Ben's got his soggy Weet-Bix in defence with porridge. Don't mind it.
Love it.
A Cybot, Ben. That is sexy.
Yeah.
Like I only found out what one of them was a couple of weeks ago. Bacon and eggs, baked beans, mate. Baked beans.
Yeah, that's a good result.
Sausage roll and meat pie for breakfast. You've got to be a tradie, Ben.
Yeah. I love that. Someone said coffee as the ruckman because they clear the space. I absolutely love that. That is hilarious. I do rate that.
Wait, I'm just shocked. Is this an Australian pastries for breakfast?
It's a tradie thing.
I honestly, I can get. Like, I've eaten some rubbish in the morning. If we don't count 3 a.m. drinking beers and just eating something to mop it up and say that's your breakfast. If we're saying I've actually slept and woke up, I don't think I've ever had pastry for breakfast ever in my life.
Well, I will say this, that my sub was pancakes. That was definitely the jack of all trades, if you will. Pancakes, it can get you through the day, so it can play in defense, it can work hard in the middle, and it's a bit of a treat as well to play up forward. So your pancakes is your all-rounder. You can go pretty much anywhere. So
you know what? Yeah. I am tempted tomorrow. I've got to get up early and drive. I am tempted to get a 4 and 20 bacon and egg for breakfast and just live the dream, live the Aussie dream. No, mate, Fazz, I think you've done really well. I can't wait to make that look sexy and post that tomorrow. But we've now got joining Let Dogs breakfast. He did takeaways.
Yeah.
Now the breakfast AFL X team comes into it. We're going to do something fun at the end of the season with these teams, so look out for it. But I'll rate this team.
Yeah, no, I was happy. I had a bit of fun with it. A few blokes got dropped. I had a couple of selections in there, but it was big selection headaches towards the end, and I made the decision pretty late.
Hot coffee on your Weet-Bix? What, like actually pour it on?
Mate, that's not the strangest thing. I've never met 2 people who eat Weet-Bix the same way. Like it's just one of those things. People stack them this way. People stack them crossed. People put hot water and milk, and it is the most universal cereal that everyone loves. Hence why it's my ruckman.
Well, we have Weet-Bix, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Which basically the same thing. My nan used to butter them and put Marmite on them.
Yes. I have seen that before. Yeah.
And like I was actually taken aback as a kid because they're so hard, soft. When they're not milky, them things are like you could knock someone out with.
Yeah, and mate, I've seen kids at school have them in their lunchbox, mate. You're like, mate, aren't you thirsty with that? Yeah, Weet-Bix with fruit on it. Yeah. See, man, Weet-Bix. Every generation loves a good ruckman. Every generation loves Weet-Bix.
Orange juice on his Weet-Bix. What is going on?
Wild. That is wild.
Tell you what, you guys and girls have educated me tonight.
Yeah. I love
Orange
it.
juice.
I love it.
How many Weet-Bix do we have? Because that's a big thing in Australia, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was always, growing up, I used to have an odd number. I always had to have an odd number. Could never be even. And it's because of the way I stacked them. I like to have one on the top and just eat the sides, and then really weird.
You,
so it was either
you know
five or seven. 5 or 7 was mine.
Yeah, I think I was about a 4 when I was a kid. But I'm a bit like you, Fazz, and this is a sidetrack because it's an interesting conversation. The incompatibility of me and my wife is she's an even number girl, I'm an odd number. So when I'm in the car, I have to have the volume on 13, 15, 17. Same with the TV, where Mrs. Pom, she's an even number thing, and it causes chaos. Like if I know it's on 22, I can't rest. Do you know what I mean? I actually can't rest. Fazz, does that affect you, and does that affect you, chat, in your life? That the numbers, even my number now, it has to be at a time that is odd. The dial.
Yeah, look, I've been known to change the volume to make it a certain number, but wouldn't say it keeps me up at night. But I would say when I'm doing it, it'd be like you've got to a number like, just one more, up or down. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because you see, when I'm in the car and I'm driving, I have the radio on at 15, and Mrs. Pom likes it at 14, and it is literally this is probably illegal. But before I check the brakes, the fuel, anything else, I turn the car on and I'm like, yep, that's back to where it should be. Not driving with that, but
that's amazing. No, that's amazing. It's you love even numbers, but you'll accept multiples of 5. I actually rate that. Yeah, multiples of 5. I got a new car, and it drives me insane because the cruise control only goes in multiples of 5. So you're either going the exact speed limit or you're speeding by 5 Ks. It's really bizarre. Yeah, I hate it because I want to go like a couple of Ks over the limit, but not like 5 Ks over the limit.
You see, I'm trying to think, is there a compromise? Being an odd person, is there a compromise like this? Like, multiples of 5 would work because it's an odd number. I'm going to try that tonight. I'm going to try and see if I tell Mrs. Pom to put the TV on 10.
Try multiples of 3 as an odd person.
Yeah.
6 and 12,
I'm going to say it because honestly, it is actually a big thing for me. I can't settle. If I know it's on the wrong number, it actually does me. It's probably psychotic. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably dangerous. But we finish now with the Pommy in Oz medal. This is a big medal. This is where we are at the moment. The 2 bonus points last week for winning Player of the Month, Harry Mackay. He leads with 18, followed by Matty Rowell, Isaac Heaney, Caleb Sarong, and Fazz's mate, Tom Stewart. Yep. We start with 5 votes for this round. Fazz, who is your 1 vote for this round? Sorry, your 1 vote.
So my 1 vote for this round goes to Zach Merritt. I think he had a very solid game in a team that got beat by 70 points. I know people will be a little bit shocked by that, but I think Zachy Merritt is he's a one-man band at the moment, and supporting a team who's been like that before, I think we've got to show a bit of respect for Zachy Merritt because I thought he was phenomenal.
Mate, I like that. And do you know what I mean? He's kind of, at the moment, it does feel like, doesn't it? He's the only player there for when you watch Essendon.
Yeah.
Which is tough. I went very similar route, a losing side, but I went 1 vote with the legend that is Jai Newcomb.
Good get.
I just was watching him and thinking he's going up against a real elite team. We've got to admit, as much as I hate Collingwood, they're a very good football side. And he looked throughout that game like he was a man who was trying to influence it. I did watch it and think if they had more of him, they'd probably be winning.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Okay, your 2 votes.
My number 2. I cannot believe this guy only got 2 because I know any other round, this is a 5 voter. I think Marcus Bontempelli is my number 2. I wouldn't be surprised if you had him higher as well because I did tear my hair out with this one a fair bit. 35 disposals, kicking a goal, and 10 tackles. again, leading from the front. You'll see a bit of a theme here. Captain, leading from the front. I think, the Bont. But again, any other round, and this is a 4 or 5er in my opinion.
Mate, he's an incredible footballer. I think we do forget about these players, don't we? I do think that they kind of just go under the radar a little bit, don't they? Players because I think we're so used to them being good, so they don't get the love when they play well.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
This might surprise people. I have gone with Charlie Comden.
Good one.
I was watching that game and I just thought he is an absolute superstar. I thought they've gone hard on getting players in, and maybe they've got a player just already there. Do you know what I mean? That's what I thought. Like, everyone's talking about these superstars. I thought making his debut this year, his first game this year, thought it was absolutely sensational.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we have heard a lot about him. A lot of talk. It's actually good to see him out there and see what he can do.
3 votes, Mr. Fazz.
Number 3. Now, this guy only got number 3 because he kicked 2 goals 4. If he had 3-3 or 4 goals 2, he would have been my 2 votes. And that is Jeremy Cameron. 27, 8 marks, 2 goals 4.
Mate, he's
what more do you say?
Mate, he's ridiculous, isn't he? Really, when you look at him, what he just keeps doing and performing week in, week out, and he's been quite quiet this year. I thought that was kind of a reminder. I thought people have maybe forgotten about him.
Yeah, look, it reminded me a lot of the game he played against us last season, except he kicked 6 then, where he kicked 2 goals 4. Like I said, if that's 4 goals 2, he probably gets the 4 or even the 5. So he just drops down a little bit. It's a tough gig, this, votes.
Mate, it's tough when it's across the whole round as well. It is incredibly hard. But 3 votes. I looked at this game and we're talking about captains. I thought Toby Green. I've been wanting to get him in my votes all week, all season, because I think he's such a good footballer. But I'm really impressed by the maturity he's showing, and I thought he was arguably the reason that Gold Coast lost that game. I thought he is another level when he's on.
Yeah, no, I agreed. He's mini Cripps.
Mate, he's a ridiculous little player.
Oh, sorry, Toby Green. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Toby Green.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, Toby. Yeah, no, he my bad. Yeah, no, he's he's phenomenal. Like, you would have him in your team. If you're building a 22, he's probably one of the first players you pick. So great get.
I think he's his maturity as well. I think people forget he's really matured.
Since becoming captain, absolutely.
4 votes, Fazz?
4, this is easy. Joey Danaher, 9 shots on goal, 20 disposals, 12 marks, even 2 tackles for the big fella. So, yeah, Joey Danaher, what a game. People could say, who was it against? But you still got to do the business, And I think Joey, to have 9 shots on goal, again, very much like Jeremy Cameron, if he kicks 7 or 8, he probably gets the 5. But no, he sneaks in for the 4 for me.
Mate, I had the same. I thought forwards really performed this week, and I thought he looked like he could get them out of trouble. And we finished on the 5 votes. Where are we going with the 5 votes?
Well, this man, maybe a little bit controversial, but I don't think so. It's very, very strange one. Very hard to be the best player on the ground for 2 teams. And this man was absolutely phenomenal for his team and then played a massive role in winning the game for the other team. And that's Jordan Clark with the 5. I'm obviously joking, by the way. But I will say it is very hard. He got 3 votes for both teams. He was probably Fremantle's best and then Carlton's best in the end. But no, he didn't get the 5. For me, the 5 was Connor Rozee. His game, his season, I think, what a player. He's we were just in awe. I was watching with my wife and our jaws were on the floor. Like, he's just a beautiful footballer. And he had a game, 36, 3 goals, 2, even the 2 tackles, I think he's amazing. But it was very tempting to give it to Jordan Clark. Like I said, getting best on ground for two teams is very hard to do.
Mate, I joined you in the 5 votes as well. I thought Connor Rosie, he's an absolute jet. An absolute jet. And I've said it before, I think we're very lucky to live in a world where these guys are playing in the same era. Him, Matt Rowell, you've got players like Matt Rowell, you've got players like Tom Green that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, Newcomb, Butters, Walsh. Yeah,
it's I mean that we're actually in this era where we get to see all these players play at the same time, and I hope people don't forget that. Do you know what I mean? I hope people don't forget that when we're slating these players because they play for other teams, they're incredibly gifted footballers.
Some of the best conversations when you're having a beer with a mate or whatever is talking about, I remember the Voss, Hurd, Buckley era or whatever, mate. We're about to hit another golden generation of midfield. I mean, most generations of midfielders are golden, like, because midfielders are guns. But we're about to hit another one, like I said, with Rosie, Butters, Horn, Francis. I mean, that's just from one team, for goodness sake. And you've got your likes of Walsh, Newcomb, Green. You know, there is just Rowell, Anderson. There are star midfielders all over the place. That's not even looking at North. I think North Melbourne have some of the best of all of them.
Mate, I agree. I agree. And then you've got players like Nick Blakey. And we're really in a generation of good football.
Errol Goulden,
mate. Yeah, and Heaney was tough as well. Like Heaney,
Heaney's just a victim of the fact that he's had an awesome season, and he was playing against West Coast. I know I said that about Danaher. It shouldn't matter who you played, but yeah, he's just a bit of a victim of that. He's been awesome all season, so you just expect it.
It's changed the leaderboard a little bit. Rosie's sneaking into 6th, like early doors, like what we said earlier. There's only been a few rounds played, so getting 5 votes, getting 4 votes from 2 coaches, you can shoot up. And tell you what, very interesting scoreboard, but them 2 bonus points go Mackay's way to put a little bit of a distance in, and he had a bad game. It can change quickly.
Can change very quickly. So he'll be, we know that they take this award very seriously, so he'll be keeping that in mind and looking to have a big one against the Crows.
Mate, the Pombardi Trophy is where it's all about. Like, honestly, like I know Harry Mackay says Coleman, Schmeh. Yeah, I mean, he wants the Pombardi. But Fazz, my friend, where can we see you this week? What are you up to?
Oh, I believe we've got another date per se on Thursday night. Is that right? And
we have indeed. We've got Pom Fazzations. We're going to be covering the round ball, bit of world sport. So come down there and we can entertain.
Nice place for a cuppa. Come down and get involved in the conversations. That'd be great. And then Sunday night with you again and Paolo on SEN doing the Premier League preview show on SEN. So that'd be great. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mate, we've got a lot on. And make sure you go and check Fazz out on the old socials. I've just dropped his link in the comments. Great banter, because he's one of the few people in the world that winds up Pies fans, Essendon fans, but also his own court.
And Carlton fans. Well. Yeah.
Tell you what, we'll give you a quick sneak peek. Ben, who's winning the Premier League in the UK? Fazz.
I'm not going to say it, so I'm going to go Man City. I still think Man City will win it from here.
Yeah, I think it's City as well, and I hate myself for it.
Yeah. Deep down, I think it's the other mob, the mob from North London, but I don't really want to say it.
Fazz will delete Twitter if I still.
No, I'll stand there and cop it. Just cop it.
Didn't you have them outside the top 6 when we did our?
Yeah, I did, but I also called Liverpool the dark horse, and I got abused for that as well.
Oh dear! I hope Arsenal don't win it for your sake now. But Fazz, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much, chat. You're all amazing.
Awesome.
And we'll be back next week. Next week's guest is Swoop Luke, so stay tuned for that. And we will be covering breakup lines. Will be the AFL X thing.
Mate.
So breakup lines.
That'll be great.
Plan that.
That'll be great. It's not you, it's me.
I'm looking forward to that one. So thank you very much, chat. We'll see you tomorrow with the preview of Carlton Adelaide. That's on this channel. But look after yourselves. Thank you very much, and good night.
See you.